Cory was thrilled with his recent purchase of a large piece of land, though it was rocky and unappealing to others. For days he explored its rugged terrain, uncovering oddities scattered across the property, but nothing prepared him for what he found next. While wandering his land, Cory stumbled upon a strange metal object partially buried in the ground. Curious, he brushed away the dirt and gasped. It wasn't just scrap metal, it was military equipment. Shocked, Cory realized his land held secrets he never imagined. Unsure what to do, Cory took photos and sent them to an old friend, now a general. Moments later, his phone rang. The general's voice was urgent. "Cory, leave the area immediately. You weren't supposed to find this." His cryptic warning left Cory rattled, but it also sparked his curiosity. What had he uncovered? Determined to learn more, Cory returned to the site. Upon closer inspection, he discovered a large metal capsule filled with dark green spheres. Picking one up, he froze in realization these were hand grenades, and the capsule contained dozens of them. Carefully examining the grenades, he confirmed their safety. The pins were intact. Still, the danger lingered. The capsule appeared old and weathered, suggesting it had been buried for decades. As Cory studied the rust-covered surface, he noticed faint engravings: GG 3, 29, 9, 95, 5, 23, 9. Intrigued but unsure what the numbers meant, Cory jotted them down and returned to his farmhouse. He debated calling the authorities but hesitated. He didn't want a bomb squad destroying his crops or taking over his land. Instead, Cory decided to solve the mystery himself. Zooming in on his photos, he uncovered more letters, an N and W. Suddenly, it clicked coordinates. Excited by the discovery, Cory deciphered the full set of coordinates and located their destination: a dense forest in Utah. Fueled by curiosity, Cory packed for the journey, filling his truck with supplies for the long drive. Hours later, he arrived at the forest, leaving his truck behind to hike deep into the woods. Following the coordinates, he climbed over fallen trees and avoided wildlife until he finally reached an abandoned bunker. The bunker stood hidden in the dense forest, untouched for decades. Its rusted exterior and overgrown surroundings hinted at its age, but Cory felt a growing sense of anticipation. Carefully, he pried the heavy door open and stepped inside. Dust filled the air as his flashlight illuminated the dark, narrow space. The room was sparse, but scattered among the debris, Cory spotted a torn piece of paper and an old map. Excitement coursed through him as he studied the fragile items. The map was faded but still legible, marking locations he didn't recognize. The torn paper, though discolored, revealed cryptic notes that hinted at its significance. Cory realized this was no ordinary find. He spent hours poring over the details, convinced the capsule and the bunker were connected. The deeper he delved, the more he pieced together. The capsule, he now believed, wasn't just random military equipment, it was a relic from World War II. This discovery was far more significant than he'd imagined. Cory couldn't help but marvel at the history buried beneath his tray. Determined to uncover the full story, Cory searched the bunker for more clues. Among the debris, he found what he'd been hoping for: a journal. Its leather cover was cracked, and its pages were brittle, but it was intact. As Cory carefully opened the journal, he saw the name engraved on the inside cover: J.G. The journal was filled with vivid accounts of a soldier's experiences during World War II. Each entry painted a picture of bravery, hardship, and sacrifice. Cory was captivated, flipping through the pages with awe. But one thing puzzled him: how did this capsule end up on his land? And what had happened to J.G.? Eager to share his discovery, Cory tracked down J.G.'s family. After some effort, he made contact and shared the news. The family was stunned. They explained that J.G. had gone missing during the war, leaving behind nothing but unanswered questions. Overwhelmed with gratitude, they were thrilled to recover his belongings after so many years. As Cory returned home, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. His unexpected journey had uncovered a powerful story of history, family, and resilience. Cory couldn't shake the emotions stirred by the journal. J.G.'s stories of courage and camaraderie during the war were as vivid as they were haunting. Each entry seemed to reveal a piece of the soldier's life, and Cory felt a strong connection to a man he had never met. However, one question lingered in his mind: what had led to the capsule being buried on his land? Determined to find answers, Cory revisited the coordinates that had brought him to the bunker. As he retraced his steps through the dense forest, he noticed signs of human activity he hadn't paid much attention to before: old campfire sites, bullet casings, and rusted equipment scattered among the trees. It became clear that the forest had been more than a hideout, it was a strategic location during the war. Back at the bunker, Cory examined the items he had found with renewed focus. The map seemed to detail supply routes, or perhaps escape plans, while the journal hinted at covert operations in the area. The pieces were falling into place, but Cory knew he was only scratching the surface of a larger story. He reached out to a local historian to learn more about wartime activities in the region. To his surprise, the historian confirmed that the area had been a base for secret military operations during World War II. The capsule and bunker were likely remnants of these missions, though much of the information remained classified. With this knowledge, Cory decided to return the journal and the artifacts he had uncovered to J.G.'s family. The family was overwhelmed by the items and expressed their gratitude for Cory's efforts. They shared stories of J.G., painting a picture of a kind and courageous man who had been a beloved son, brother, and friend. Cory felt honored to have played a part in preserving his legacy. Though his journey began with a simple act of curiosity, it had transformed into something far greater. Cory had uncovered a hidden chapter of history and reconnected a family with their past. As he stood on his land once more, the rocky terrain no longer seemed barren, it was now a place of discovery and remembrance. Cory stood on his land, reflecting on how much his life had changed in just a few days. What began as an ordinary exploration of his property had turned into a journey of historical significance. The rocky soil he once saw as useless had become a window into the past, holding stories of courage and sacrifice. The family of J.G. remained deeply appreciative of Cory's efforts. They shared that the journal was the only tangible link they now had to their lost loved one. It provided a glimpse into J.G.'s experiences during the war, bringing both closure and pride to his descendants. For Cory, the gratitude he received from the family was humbling, but the journey had also changed him in profound ways. He thought back to the moment he first uncovered the capsule. The initial shock, the mystery of the coordinates, and the challenging hike to the abandoned bunker, all of it had awakened a sense of purpose and adventure he hadn't felt before. Cory realized that life was full of hidden possibilities, waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to search for them. As he returned the final artifacts to J.G.'s family, they invited him to attend a small ceremony they planned to honor the soldier. The gathering was held on what would have been J.G.'s birthday, and Cory felt privileged to join them in celebrating a life that had touched so many. The family shared heartfelt stories, and the journal became the centerpiece of their remembrance. Cory left the ceremony with a renewed sense of connection to the world around him. He knew he would never look at his land the same way again. It was no longer just a rocky plot of earth. It was a reminder of the resilience of those who came before, and the importance of preserving their stories. Back at home, Cory stood at the edge of his field, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Though the journey had reached its end, the lessons he had learned would stay with him forever. He smiled, knowing that the land he once thought barren had given him an incredible gift, a story worth telling and a legacy worth honoring.